Hey everyone, happy Monday. We are super excited for our Infant Development 101 Instagram live chat. I have a special guest. Brooke is coming on with Infant Insights. If you are here for the first time, my name is LaShauna West. I am a part of the All Things Childcare team, and we're going to have an amazing conversation. So make sure to get your notepad, your pen, and share this with at least 5 people who need to be in on the conversation. I see Brooke is in the chat. Go ahead and send me a request. Boop, I see that too. Oh wait, that's not you. Go ahead and send me a request and we'll get started. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Just put your city and state or whatever you would like to share in the comments. We're super excited about our Instagram live series. If you are like, okay, I love this, we have opportunities for you to catch the replay. You can always check our stories, and we will have a link in the replay. Brooke coming in. We'll get started. I'm super excited for today. Tampa, hello. New York, what's going on? I am in Atlanta. If you're in Atlanta, put ATL in the comments. And Brooke is coming in shortly. New Jersey, hello. I got you, Brooke. We'll try that again. So I hope everyone's weekend was amazing. If you did anything cool, let us know. Hey, Brooke, how's it
going? I usually host lives. I don't ever have to join one. So I was like, oh, got to click down there.
Well, I am so glad that you are here. How was your weekend?
It was so good. I didn't realize you're in Atlanta. I'm in South Georgia, Valdosta, Georgia.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'm super excited to have you here, Brooke. We've been chatting in the messaging, and I'm like, we have to have her on our platform to share with our parents and community about infant development. I'll have you introduce yourself, and we'll jump right in.
Yes, so I'm Brooke Borup, and I'm an occupational therapist. I have been an occupational therapist for about 4 years. I've worked predominantly in pediatrics most of that time and took kind of like a management role. But then when I had my son, I was like, oh my goodness, like there's so many things to know about these tiny babies. And so I really just became so interested in infant development very specifically, because not only do you help the baby, but you also help the parents. You know, when you become a mom or a parent, it's like a lot of changes, right? And so the last thing that I want my parents to worry about is their baby's development, their baby's head shape, like all of the things that come along with that. So I love what I do. I'm a mom. My little boy, he's 13 months, and I'm pregnant with a little girl. So, yep.
Congratulations.
I'm excited about that. My husband is a pastoral counselor. He works for our church, so he helps me with my mental health. But yeah, we are loving life. We live in like a tiny town in South Georgia, but it's nice to connect with people all over the world through Instagram. It is very amazing.
I know, very amazing. Well, congrats again on your new bundle of joy. I know that's going to be a different kind of energy, having a little girl coming, which is pretty cool. I want to say hello to everyone who's popping in the chat. If you have questions while myself and Brooke are chatting, please put it in the QA box. That way we can keep track of it. So when we think of infant development for a typical parent or caregiver, we're in our mind, we're like, okay, is my kid where they need to be? And a lot of times we don't even know where that is, but sometimes we assume it should be further than it needs to be. So what would you tell that parent who is kind of concerned about where their child is and they don't really know what to do? What would you tell that parent to help them out?
Yes, that's so great. So really, I always tell my parents every baby is different. And literally, like my son, he is going to look totally different than my little girl when she's here, right? And so every single child, every person, right? Like I'm a different person than you. Like we all have our own little quirks. Mm-hmm. We all have our own little personalities. And so it's very important to remember that. Very important. But also to remember development is a continuum. Okay.
Like
Development's not like, okay, by 6 months, by literally their 6 month date, they have to be sitting. And I think a lot of times, like milestone charts, checklists, really those checklists you do at the pediatrician, they sometimes make me worry. And I'm like, I know where my child is, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's really important to know that every child is different and development is a continuum. So let's say walking is kind of like the developmental milestone. And everybody says, okay, 12 months walking, like by your baby's first birthday, like those little steps should be taken. But to be honest, it's a range. I mean, some of my friends' babies walk at like 9 months, you know. Thankfully that wasn't me, because then it's like, whoa, you know, so busy. But then other babies, you know, don't walk until 13, 14, 15 months. So
Mm-hmm.
you see, all of that is very normal. And that is a large range in development. So yeah, one thing I'm very passionate about is minimizing the anxiety around milestones, because I think we can compare. I mean, we're just, you know, the world we're living in, everything is kind of right in front of our faces. And so just being a sounding board is very important to me.
Yeah, you know, I love that you use the word continuum, because when I think of continuum, I think of progression. And at the end of the day, if there's no rule book, little Johnny might progress differently than little Susie. That doesn't mean each of them are doing better than the other. But who can they go to? Let's just say it's something blatant that literally seems off, if you may. Who would they be able to go to get some expert advice or some sound advice so they can minimize their anxiety, if you may?
Yes. Okay. So definitely your pediatrician is number one. I know in the United States, we primarily see a pediatrician very regularly, usually at the 2, 4, 6, 9, 12-month mark, right? But in other countries like Australia, United Kingdom, things like that, they really see maybe like a family doctor, or they see like a midwife or a family nurse. And so any of these healthcare providers that are having you kind of, you know, any kind of these healthcare providers that are having you go over what is your baby doing,
Mm-hmm.
X, Y, and Z, those are the people you really can talk to about, hey, like my baby is 11, 12 months and they're not sitting yet, you know, that is kind of outside of that normal continuum, right? So that is the first step. I will tell you though, anytime you feel like there is a concern, like because we know our kids better than anybody, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So if you feel like just a nudge in your spirit, you're like, I'm not sure about this, get a referral for a therapist. I mean, all they're gonna do is they're gonna evaluate your child and they're gonna rate them on a standardized scale that says, are they average? Are they slightly below? Are they significantly below?
Yeah,
And that just gives you a peace of mind, you know?
I agree. So we have a question. They said my 2-month-old baby, well, BS.
Breastfeed, Ramsey
Okay,
breastfeeds.
thank you. Whole day, but at night after 12, he needs 30 milliliters of formula to sleep. Will this lower her breast milk supply?
Okay, I'm definitely not a lactation consultant. That is like a whole nother realm, right? There's just so many things to know about that. Just in my experience, you know, if the baby feeds less, that might bring down your supply, but obviously they're feeding a good bit during the day. So I would definitely, maybe we can link some accounts, like lactation accounts.
Sure.
I can send you some too afterwards and we can get those in the comments for her. That'd be perfect.
Okay, yeah, and you know what I appreciate, Brooke, that you're literally staying in your lane. Like I do that too. If that's not my scope, I'm like, but I will find someone who can help. Awesome. So we have one that I believe is in alignment. My 2-month-old favors the left side of his head and is developing a flat spot. How can I help this?
Okay, I told you in the messages, I love head shape. I just really love it because it's so common now. It really is.
Yeah.
But one thing I would do if your baby is favoring a side, we really want to get pressure on all sides of the head equally. Okay, so that is huge. So if they already have a flat spot, we really want to work on getting pressure on the opposite side of that flattening, opposite side of the preferred side. Okay, literally every baby's different though, and it depends on what does it look like. Do they have tension in their neck? So I definitely can help you. You just send me a DM and I'll get you the tools you need. So I offer like free assessments for head shape. I just look at it and say, I think this is something to be concerned about. So fill out a form, I'll DM it to her, and she'll be good to go.
Awesome. I love that. And we're definitely want everyone to connect with you and your community to connect with us. So if you have free resources, like of course we call it a lead magnet, free resource, please let us know what to put on our page, because after our live today, we're actually going to get access for those to get the replay and a link to get any kind of resources that you have. So definitely shoot that to me. They can also go directly to you. But as you mentioned about you love the whole piece with the head, tell me this, what got you in this area of expertise? Like, what was it for you that said, you know what, this is my thing?
I literally could talk about this all day. So I'll tell you, okay? My son, his name is James. He's 13 months, like I said. Whenever he was, honestly, when he was born, I was like, he really was very fixated to one side. And I had worked with babies with torticollis, side preferences, things like that. And I'll tell you, as a therapist, becoming a mom, I was like, I just want my baby to be perfect, right? I've treated kids all my career. Like, I just don't want to have to treat my own kid. Yeah. So at the 2-month appointment, his head was a little flat and the doctor noted it. I had noted it before that. 4 month, wasn't fixed totally. I really was just so anxious about it. Like, I spent so much time focusing on his head. I really feel like I missed like the first few months of his life,
Yeah.
And so then at the 4-month appointment, I was like, I have got to do something about this. I've got to put on my therapist cap and I've got to fix it. Yeah. So literally, I developed a program. I really just analyzed like everything we were doing with him. I was like, all right, this is what he's doing in playtime. This is what he's doing when I'm nursing him, bottle feeding, all of the things, right? And I just really started to stretch him and really focus on the head and neck.
Yeah.
Everything else kind of fell into place. And now literally, I feel so thankful. I've helped about 500 babies all across the world. Girl,
Wow,
I love it.
Awesome.
Yes. So maybe that's the answer to your question. Like, I felt very anxious about it as a mom myself.
Yep.
And so I think just raising awareness and providing a solution minimizes that anxiety.
Got you. And what I also heard you say is documenting and paying attention to when and where, because even when you reach out to the professional, the doctor, the PCP, they're going to ask certain questions. And so even though I know we use the word anxious, but I would say concerned about it, pay attention to what's happening so you can have pertinent information that they need to help you to get to where you and your baby needs to be.
Exactly. That's great. Yes.
Awesome. So our next question is, my 4-month-old baby favors to the left side. Can I still fix it without a helmet?
Yes. 4 months is a great time. Honestly, the way I do things, and every kind of therapist that specializes in head shape may have their own method, right? But as far as it goes with me, is if you come to me at 6 months, I'll say, okay, is it mild, moderate? If it's severe, I'm going to tell you to go ahead and just seek helmeting. Yeah. But if it's mild or moderate, I'll say, let's work on it for a month. I mean, if you work on it from like 6 to 7 months, you still have time to helmet. If you really, after 9 months, if it's just a mild flattening, I'll help you up to 9 months. But if it's severe, I usually go ahead and just suggest helmeting if they're over 6 months or so. But it's very important just to know if every baby is different. And that's why it's so important. I'll definitely send you that link. It's all on my website.
Okay.
It's just so important for me to look at it individually.
Yeah.
Because, it just depends.
It really does. It really does. So I see everyone coming in. Welcome, 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 you guys. You're tuning in to our Instagram live series, and we have special experts and parenting enthusiasts around the world. Today we have Brooke with Infant Insights, and she specializes in infant development. And I'm so excited that you're here. So if you have a question, please pop it in the QA because we want to keep track of it. And then also at All Things Childcare, we literally want to bring you the resources, the activities, the experts. So if there's something that you want us to share during our RG live chats or even on our website, pop it in our comments and our staff are going to capture those so we can make sure that we're giving you everything that you need. All right, so the next question is, when could or should babies start to roll over?
This is a good question. I saw it down there. Honestly, this is kind of a loaded question. So let me tell you this. Okay, back to sleep. Babies that sleep on their back now, they don't really, tummy time is like a thing now. Yeah. So we have to make time for tummy time. So babies really, they may roll from their belly to their back in tummy time with their arms, underneath. You see how we prop them up underneath their little chest? They could do that really from like birth to 3 months. I mean, it's really no skill involved. It's just kind of gravity. Yeah. But then around the 5, and I know this seems like a long kind of space, but from 5 to 8 months, because really every baby is different.
Yeah.
And, belly to back rolling with arms out in front is going to happen around 5 to 8 months. You might see your baby stop rolling after they kind of don't have their elbows underneath in tummy time for a little bit while they figure out that new progression. Because tummy time now has phases, right? We don't just like let them sleep on their belly all the time, so they're not super acclimated to that prone position. So belly to back, it really happens twice. Yeah. And then back to belly, I just look for that around 5 to 8 months too. Really importantly though, and this is very helpful for me as a mom too, not just thinking about the large milestone, because there's so many mini milestones that happen in between the large milestones. So like back to belly, I'm looking for the baby to grasp their feet.
Yeah.
I'm looking for like rolling to the sides, like all of those things are precursors. So I do, and I'll share them with you, but I do have guides on these specific milestones, and it really helps you break down the skills that are needed, which I think is more important than looking for the big milestone.
I love that you share that. And if you guys notice, she said 5 to 8 months. It's a range. It's a spectrum. Remember, she used the word continuum. So if something's not happening at month 5, month 6, don't panic. It's very gray. It's very colorful. As you guys know, parenting is not black and white, and neither is infant child development. And so I also heard you mention pay attention to the other things instead of stop being so fixated on the thing that we want to control, right?
Yeah.
And so I can't wait to share more information because I know you have all the things. And then also tell us more about what you do. Let's say someone wanted to embark on more services with you or things like that. Do you offer any other paid services that they can learn about?
I do. So I spend most of my days doing consultations online with parents, either head shape or development. So I have both options. You can find them on my website under services.
Okay.
But additionally, I have courses. I have courses on tummy time, rolling, sitting, crawling, walking, starting solids, head shape correction, head shape prevention. I mean, just on-demand courses, because I'm just one person.
Yeah.
And so it's important for me to put out a very solid, helpful product and resource so more people can have access. So yes, and I have that on my website too.
Perfect. All right. So our next question is, my 4-month-old is attempting to crawl, prefers to be upright, but won't roll. Can babies miss certain milestones? Should I be patient and keep encouraging? Which they answered their question already. However, I'll let you take it.
Yes, definitely be patient. Keep encouraging. It's funny that you say your 4-month-old's attempting to crawl, because this is actually a reflex, okay? So it's called Bowler crawling. So it's very complex, and I've wrote a blog post about it. But basically, innately, we have these movement patterns that help us move and explore our world, whether that's get to a nutrient source, get to a nearby object, whatever that is, okay? So Very important. That reflex is necessary for mature, purposeful crawling. So that is great. Yeah. But if your 4-month-old does enjoy upright movements, that's okay. I do want you, though, to encourage and really provide opportunities for belly and back play, because that's where the rolling is going to occur. Yeah. So very importantly, mixing that upright positioning with other play positions. I'm all about a play position transition. So this is just like when your baby has a wake window and they get annoyed with one position, we should have a plan in what we're going to do next, right? So tummy time, baby's sad, baby doesn't like tummy time. Now we're going to go to the sides of the baby. Yep, each side, alternating their sides, get them in those rolling preparatory positions. Maybe back play, batting at toys, tracking, rolling back to belly, yeah? And then sitting up as well. So just knowing that each of those positions encourage a different milestone, and they're all important, all of them.
I love it. She said play, position, transition. And it's so funny, even though I didn't know that framework, and mind you, my daughter's 21, but I still remember. I think the common sense in me was like, okay, no one wants to just stay the same all day long. So making sure that they're staying active and keeping mobilized. That way they can continue to exercise in the baby way, and so they can grow. So I love that. Play, position, transition.
I love that too. You said exercise in the baby way. That's great.
Yeah.
I always tell my parents, your baby's not going to be lifting tiny little dumbbells. Yeah. They're going to be lifting their arm, their legs, sitting up. Like all of these things are like their little going to the gym, you know? And it's just so cute. Oh, they're just amazing. It's crazy how they develop.
I know. So tell me this, Brooke, because as you know, it's 2023, right? And back in the day, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, there were certain myths or things that parents learned from their parents, or they learned from just being in the atmosphere, that has either A, was a myth, or has changed because of technology. Is there anything that comes to your mind right now that is very like frequent that people used to do back in the day that it's kind of null and void, or it doesn't even exist anymore, but we were actually doing it back in the day? Anything come to mind?
Yeah, honestly, like 3 things come to mind. So one is belly sleep. Like we don't really do that anymore. Yeah, like babies really, like when I was young, my mom and I talk about like she put me on my belly. We all slept on our bellies. Head shape issues really weren't a big thing. Yeah. So that is really one thing that has changed over the years. But additionally, to add on to that, and this is something that I don't really entertain, because like when people comment on my posts like ugly things, I'm just not going to respond to that. Like I'm not going to entertain that.
Right.
But one thing people say is, oh, well, if your baby's head is flat, then like you just didn't pay attention to it enough, or you didn't do enough tummy time, or you're a bad parent. And I'm thinking, no way. Like 1 in 4 babies deal with flattening now because they sleep on their backs. So it's very important to know belly sleep is not really a common thing anymore, but also if your baby's head gets flat, you're still a great parent and we can fix it. And it's okay even if your baby wears a helmet. It's fine. They're going to be so cute, and you're going to get your baby the tools they need, regardless of what that looks like, right? One more thing too, additionally, is it's not good to encourage your baby's development. Some people say that. Some people say you don't have to encourage your baby's development. And to an extent, I tend to agree, but it's 2023. The consumer market, especially in the States, is very big, and there's so many things to put our babies in. Yeah. So I think these days it's a lot more important to know how to encourage rolling, know how to encourage sitting, help your baby crawl and walk, because, you know, before we know it, we look back and we're like, oh my gosh, the whole day my baby spent in their little skip hop activity center and I didn't even realize it, you know?
Yes.
So I think whenever people say you don't need encourage development, I tend to say that. So
makes total sense. And I believe this question is in alignment with what you were talking about. And they want to know, my 5-month-old preemie has started rolling and sleeping on his belly at night. It was scary at first because he is not able to roll on his back. Even if I try to put him again on his back, he will roll over again. Any advice for that?
okay, that is a great question. And I don't talk about this a ton on my account just because every baby is so different. And really every pediatrician is different too. You know, my pediatrician said 12 months, they need to sleep on their backs. Until 12 months, they need to sleep on their backs. But, you know, when your baby's rolling in the middle of the night, like you can't go in there and flip them over every time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I always tell my parents, if you know your baby during the day in the crib can safely get from their back to their belly and from their belly to their back, they're not swaddled with their arms in, they're not in a weighted sleep sack that's going to hold them down. You know, they're in something that they can really move very freely in. I say, as a mom, that's okay. And that's exactly what happened with my son. As soon as he started rolling, he started to sleep on his belly, and I couldn't control it. So as long as they're safe, that's all that matters.
I love that. As long as they're safe, that's all that matters. And overall, go with your gut, right? Because it's not like you have a PCP at your fingertips. You can just call and say, hey, what do I do? Yes, we have YouTube. Yes, we have Google. But I'll also tell you, information is subjective. It's depending on how that person has experienced life and what they think. Like you just said, all PCPs are different, right? But what does your gut tell you? And at the end of the day, are they safe? Are they safe? Awesome. So I want to ask a question to the audience. Let me know right now what is resonating. We have about 5 more minutes left, and I'll probably answer 2 more questions. But I'm curious to know what is resonating. If you've been tuning in for a while, what has been like that thing? You're like, oh my goodness, I'm so glad I tuned in. Please let us know in the comments what is resonating so far, okay? Now, our next question is, how often should you be stretching? Now, I don't know if they're talking about us as parents or baby, but
I'm assuming it's because I think she asked about the head shape. So I think it's probably along the same lines. Every baby is different. And I always tell parents, for one, I really want you to understand the proper stretches and how to go about that. And there's only so much I can tell you in a 35-second clip on Instagram, right? So definitely reach out to my free offers and things. I have a little bit more information there, just as far as specifics go. But I always also tell parents, if your hamstring was, say you slept last night and you got like a Charlie horse in your leg, like a cramp, how often would you stretch it? You know, like if it seems problematic, you probably should stretch it more often, right? So that's kind of the very general answer I would give is, if it seems tight, you probably need to do it some more. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So someone said they love the continuum information, which I concur on that. And then our last question is, hello, my 3-month-old, 10-day-old baby is always moving his head right or left while doing tummy time. We are worried why he does not keep his head straight.
Okay, that sounds good though. He's got good rotation. You know, just really try to encourage that baby to stay at midline with some exciting, like high contrast toys, some mirrors, some books open, like on the floor, like board books. You know, really try to get the excitement in front and see, you know, your body is just amazing, but you know, these muscles in the front, if they're at midline, if they're at the center, they have to engage equally. And so, you know, really just making sure you're encouraging that center kind of involvement is going to help that. So keep it up, but really and truly, you know, we can't put baby in a box, right? If they want to look at something over there, they're going to look over there. Yeah. they're their own little person. And around that 3 month mark is when they really start waking up and kind of showing you their own interest in things.
Mm-hmm.
They're out of that fourth trimester, and so they're going to be much more attentive.
Love it. We have time for one more question. And I also want to remind you guys, after this live, there's going to be a link in our stories so you can sign up to get the replay. And I'll make sure that you get it as well, Brooke, just in case you want to share it anywhere. So our last question is, what are your thoughts about TV for those under 2 years old? My 13-month-old loves Miss Rachel. He will sit and watch for an hour. What would you do?
Okay, I'm a little bit conservative when it comes to these things. I think, and this is really not me as a professional. I mean, I have a lot of education on child development too, and just attention and things like that. But in our house, we watch Miss Rachel, which I think she's so catchy. She's so cute. But I really try not to let him just sit there and mindlessly watch her. Like, I try to sing the songs, do the movements, like be a participant with him. Yeah. And of course, like, if you need to like unload the dishwasher and let your baby watch it for a second without you being there, like, do not feel sad about that. Don't feel guilty. Like, it's totally okay. But in our house, we're not really going to make TV like a big deal. Like, we have the TV on just like in the background a lot of times. Yeah. And we're just not going to try to make it like a huge deal, like screen time, It's just, if I see that he's like not really being involved with it and just kind of mindlessly staring, I might consider switching it up if that helps.
It does. I love that. So, Brooke, I want to tell you thank you so much for popping on with us today. Give me some feedback. What did you think about our live today?
So fun. You're so nice and bubbly. So we can talk all day. I love it. Thank you so much for inviting me and really just helping, parents. Like, I feel like it's great that y'all are a funnel to like all accounts. And I think that's just amazing. I think it's great. A one-stop shop.
Thank you. What is the lasting thing that you wanted to share with everyone that could just be a good nugget for them when it comes to infant development?
Yeah, I would just say we're all great parents. Like, no matter what you decide to do with your baby, no matter what type of parenting style you follow, or, what you like to do with your baby, like, you're doing the best you can, and we're all great, and we're all unique. So, of course, if there's anything that is concerning, like, I promise, I try to get back to everybody on Instagram messages. So just shoot me a message. I'll be happy to tell you yay or nay. Like, yeah, let's chat, or you're good to go.
Oh, I love that. So what I'm hearing her say is give yourself grace. There's no roadmap. There's no blueprint. It's a journey. And the sooner you ease up the self-imposed pressure, the easier life and parenting will be for you. So thank you so much, Brooke. And thank you everybody that tuned in today. We can't wait to see you guys next time for our IG Live series. Have an amazing Monday and take care. Bye, guys.
Bye. See ya.
Adios.